the continuation of the first two and whatever Dr. Sairam Kaliraj has discussed. I think I am audible, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're audible, sir.
Okay. So let us continue from what we left in the last class. Okay. This is somewhat easier problem. Let me see how many of you are able to do this. I think it's very easy. Okay. So this is an NBHM question. I think 2019 or 2018. I didn't remember the year, but anyway. So which of the following statements are true? Which of the following statements are true? So there exists an analytic function f from c to c such that its real part is the function e power x. Its real part is the function e power x. Okay. Does there exist such a function? Hello. So f from c to c means f is an analytic function from c to c means what type of function it is? It is an entire function. Okay, it is an entire function. So does there exist an entire function? So f is a function from c to c, which is entire, such that a real part of f of z is equal to e power x. Do you have such a function?
Yes, sir, we can apply Riemann-Cox CR equations to evaluate that.
What? We can apply?
CR equations to evaluate such function.
You want to apply CR equations to evaluate this? Okay. Okay, but okay, that's
Sir,
correct.
I think,
but
there does not exist such function.
Very good. Why?
Because if the function is analytic, then its real part function and complex part function, they should be the harmonic functions.
Real
and,
part and imaginary part should be harmonic. Very good.
But this function is not a harmonic function for all the complex numbers.
Very good. So if I take u to be e power x, uxx is also e power x, because we know that derivative of e power x is with respect to x, of course. Derivative of e power x is how much? Hello?
E power x.
E power x. So if I differentiate it 2 times, again it is e power x. I don't need to worry about u y. Anyway, it is 0. So it is 0. So uxx plus uyy is equal to e power x. Uxx plus uyy is equal to e power x. But this is never 0. That is the specialty of this function. E power x can never be 0. So it is nowhere harmonic. So therefore it cannot be a real part of an entire function or analytic function. Entire function. Please remember, what is the real part of e power z? What is the real part of e power z? What is the real part of this one? I think it's very easy to calculate. What is it? E power x into cos y. Many people may think a real part of e power z is e power x. Not like that.
Sir. Sir. Hello.
Hello, sir. Barnina.
Sir, audio not coming, sir. Wait பண்ணலாம், sir.
Okay, ma'am. Hello, everyone. For speaker, some network issue. Please stay on the line for 1 or 2 minutes.
Hello, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, now it is audible, sir.
Okay. Whether the screen is okay? Are you able to see this?
No, sir. Screen is not visible, sir.
Screen is not visible.
Wait. Paranjit sir, please wait. I will
நீங்க
make.
ஷேரிங் ஆப்ஷன் எனேபிள் பண்ணுங்க அப்பதான் போகும் நினைக்கிறேன்.
அந்த வரேன். நம்ம ட்ரை பண்ணுங்க.
ரைட் ஓகே. Is it okay now? Okay.
I think screen is not visible.
Is it okay now?
Now your window is visible. Your desktop is visible. Yes.
You are able to see the presentation, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is okay. Okay, let us come to the second problem.
Sir, before you go to sir, I have a doubt.
Yes. Yeah.
Sir, why don't we use that when the CR equations to evaluate the Vx? I know that but that should
See, you can using CR equations and integration you can find the harmonic conjugate provided that function should be
harmonic. That's that.
So first test itself this one failed, right?
Yeah.
It is not harmonic. It is not harmonic. Once it is harmonic, you can use CR equations to find the whatever co-analytic part or imaginary part of the analytic function using direct integration or Milne-Thomson method or whatever. Okay. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now let us come to the section B. Okay. So there exists an analytic function f from C to C. So again it is an entire function such that f of z is equal to z for all z such that okay, so the answer for the first one is no. No such function exists. Okay. So there is an analytic function f from C to C such that f of z is equal to z for all z with modulus of z is equal to 2019 and f of z is equal to z square for all z such that modulus of z is equal to 2020. So can we have such a function? You have to apply a theorem that already we have discussed in last class. Okay, maybe I will give you the hint. Uniqueness theorem you apply and tell me whether such function exists. Uniqueness theorem. See. So modulus of z is equal to 2019. What it is? What will be modulus of z is equal to 2019?
Circle.
Yeah. Circle with center
0.
And radius
2019.
2019. Very good. Okay. Similarly, modulus of z is equal to 2020. It is also a circle with center 0 and radius. So this bigger circle is this circle. Modulus of z is equal to 2020. So this smaller circle is modulus of z is equal to 2019. So in this smaller circle, my function is f of z is equal to z, right? The bigger circle, it is z square. But what I know is f is a entire function satisfying this condition. So you apply uniqueness theorem and say whether this is possible or not. Yes.
Sir, mod z equal to 2019 his limit point in C.
Very good. So if f of z, if f is an, so okay, what is the conclusion? Yes, you are right. Yeah.
If fz equal to z in mod z equal to 2019,
very
then
good.
fz equal to z for all z belongs to
Very
C.
good. So f of z is the identity function for all z in C. So it cannot be equal to z square in modulus of z is equal to 2020. So the answer is, what is the answer?
Not possible.
Not possible or no? No is the answer. Very good. So there exists an analytic function again f from C to C such that some region is given, f of 0 equal to 1 and f of 4i equal to I, and in that region it is satisfying some condition. So what is that condition? Okay, let us write that condition in detail. Let us write that condition in detail. What is that condition? See, in the region 1 less than modulus of z less than 3, okay, zj, where j equal to 1, 2. If you take any 2 points, for points in this region, what happens? See, modulus of f of z1 minus f of z2, it is less than or equal to modulus of z1 minus z2 power pi by 3. So what is this actually? What is this region? 1 less than modulus of zj less than 3. What type of region is this one?
Annular
Annular region.
Angular region.
Annular region. So this is my circle mod z equal to 1, and this is my circle mod z equal to 3. So this is the region between these two circles. So in this region, my function is satisfying some condition. Some condition is given. Okay. And what else is given about f? F of 0 equal to 1, f of 4i equal to I. F of 0 equal to 1 and f of 4i equal to I. Okay. So can we have such a function? So also it is given that f is an analytic function from C to C. That means what? Again f is an what type of function? Entire function. So f is an entire function. F of 0 equal to 1 and f of 4i equal to I. That means what? F is an entire function which is non-constant. For two distinct values, it takes two distinct values. F of 0 equal to 1, f of 4i equal to I. And f is an entire function. Means f is a non-constant entire function. It satisfies certain condition in the annular region. So this condition is true only for the annular region. So such a type of function exists or not? That's what we want to prove. Exist or not. So have you seen this type of condition somewhere?
This is the Lipschitz condition, like Lipschitz conditions.
This is Lipschitz condition. Okay. Lipschitz condition of order
Pi by 3.
Order pi by 3. So can you say something? Okay.
The f is constant, sir.
How will you prove that f is constant?
using the derivative.
Answer is correct. To prove f is constant, you have to prove the derivative is equal to
0.
Derivative is equal to 0. Okay.
Because this region is connected, so we can.
Yeah. You take a point in this annular region. So f of z minus f of w by z minus w. So limit z going to w. Sorry, I think some problem. Okay. Limit z going to w. Okay. I take the modulus. Okay, where z, w and all points in the annular region. I take points in the annular region. I fix z in the annular region. Sorry, I fix w in the annular region and I approach z to w. Okay, f of z minus f of w, f of w minus f of z, whatever. Okay, that is also true. Nothing is wrong in this. Okay, now, so what is this? What condition is given to us? Just let us see. See, use this one. So what will you get? So this is less than or equal to, this is less than or equal to limit z goes to w modulus of z minus w power pi by 3 by modulus of z minus w. So if I cancel this, this will be a positive power. So I can cancel this. So this is pi by 3 minus 1. So limit goes to where? What is the value of the right hand side? What is the value of the right hand side?
0.
This is equal to 0.
Will go.
What about the limit on the left hand side? It is actually modulus of f dash of z or w?
W.
F dash of?
W.
It is w. Modulus of f dash of w. So which is equal to?
0.
Which is equal to 0. If modulus goes to 0, the function goes to 0. So limit, this is 0. So modulus f dash of w equal to 0 implies, what is f dash of w?
F of W is constant.
F dash of w is equal to?
F of W is constant.
Yeah. Where it is constant? That is very important. So
Yeah,
f of w is constant where?
In the annular region.
In the annular region. Constant in the annular region. But what I know about f, see the hypothesis, f is an what type of function?
Entire function.
Entire.
Now we have proved that it is constant in the annular region. So therefore, can I say that it is constant in the entire complex plane?
Yes, we can.
Why?
Using the uniqueness.
No, it is
Because
Using
constant.
uniqueness
F
theorem
of
again.
0 equal to 1 and F of 4
Using
equal
uniqueness
to
theorem. No. Let us come to that later. Now from these conditions, you can say that f is a constant function. So, but f is a constant function on the entire complex plane. F is a constant entire function, or in other words, f is a constant entire function. So you cannot have this f of 0 equal to 1 and f of 4 equal to I is not possible. So what is the conclusion now? Do we have such a function? Yes or no?
No.
No. See, for all these questions, the answer is.
Sir,
For all
second
these
question
questions,
can explain, sir. Second question again, repeat, sir.
you want to explain the second question again?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. See, f of z is equal to z for all z in the circle with center 0 and radius 2019. Okay. What about this set? See this set.
That is a disc with radius
No, it is not a
2019.
disk. It is a circle. It is not a disk.
It is
I am
a circle.
considering only the boundary.
Okay, okay.
See this. What are the limit points of this disk? Sorry, not disk. What are all the limit points of this circle?
Two.
How many limit points the circle has?
Infinity.
No limit.
But that is a boundary points.
No.
Sir, it's an
Okay, if I
empty
write
because
this,
fact-
if I write this set as like this, S is equal to set of all Z such that modulus of Z is equal to 2019. If I call the set of all limit points with usual notation S dash, what is S dash? Can you tell me?
Yes. Yes.
S dash is equal to?
Yes.
Yes. So what is my F? F of Z is equal to Z on S. F of Z is equal to Z on S. Right? And S is having so many limit points. S is having so many limit points. There is one limit point. It is enough for me. So F is an entire function which is equal to F of Z is equal to Z on the set S, but S has a limit point in C. So therefore, F of Z is equal to Z for all Z belongs to C. For all Z belongs to C. Is that clear? So F is the identity function by uniqueness theorem. So therefore, you can't claim that F of Z is equal to Z square on the circle mod z equal to 2020. So therefore, no such function exists. Is that clear?
Sir, can you tell the statement of uniqueness theorem, sir?
Okay. If f is an analytic function in a domain, if f is an analytic function in a domain D, okay, I will write the statement for you. F is analytic in a domain D. F is analytic in a domain D. Some problem with this pen. Sorry. Okay. Domain D. And f of z equal to 0 for all z belonging to S. S is some subset of D. S is a subset of D. If S has a limit point in D, that is very, very important. Limit point in D, then F is identically equal to 0 on D. Is that clear?
Okay, okay, sir.
So this is the uniqueness theorem or identity theorem. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now this is an NBHM question. So you can expect such type of questions in NBHM. All the answers may be false. All the answers may be false.
So here you are considering the domain as whole C.
Yes, D is whole C. Yes, 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 yes.
So that subset is set of all Z such that
So that modulus of Z is equal to 2019. Yes.
Okay. That place
Is it-
only I got confused.
Is that clear now?
Now clear, sir.
Okay, fine. Oh, sorry.
Sir, in the third option where you use the limit,
Yeah. Wait. Just once again I will come. Yeah. Tell me.
in the third option where you use the limit, you will take a limit just as to like definition, limit definition of differentiability. We can take it because f is analytic, right? That limit exists, that's why, right?
Yes, F is analytic, of course. Yeah.
That's why, right? We can
Yes.
write limit in that way only.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Thank you. I just confirmed.
Is okay for you? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you okay
Yes,
with
sir.
this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is one more definition for the derivative. See, this definition is another definition for derivative. Where is it? See, this limit. Okay. What I can write it. See, limit z goes to w, f of w minus f of z by w minus z. So this is also equal to f dash of w. This is also definition for derivative. Because usually we use this one, limit h goes to 0, f of z plus h minus f of z by h. So this is the definition of f dash of z. So both these definitions are actually equivalent. We used this definition. Why we used this definition? Because see, the condition is given in terms of z1, z2 like this. Okay. Is that clear? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So let us go to the next item. This is a very easy problem. I think we solve this or not? Okay. This is using Liouville's theorem. Can you answer this quickly within a minute? Very easy problem. Let f be an entire function and m is a positive real number such that f satisfies one of these conditions. Prove that f is a constant function. Okay, first to prove the second one, then let us come to the first one. How will you prove this? Modulus of f of z is greater than or equal to m. Of course, if you use Picard's theorem, the proof is one line, but you can also prove this using Liouville's theorem.
So we can take f of z is equals to g, another function, gz is equals to
You
1 by fz.
define g of z is equal to 1 by
fz.
yeah, 1 by f of z. Very good. Then
It will be defined because f of z is always greater than
f of z is non-zero because this m is positive. Okay. So then
Now,
modulus of g of z is bounded by
n, 1 by n.
1 by m.
And gz is, since fz is
F
analytic.
is analytic, 1 by f is analytic because it is non-zero. So g is analytic, g is bounded entire function. So g is constant, therefore f is constant. So this is proved, right? Very good. What about the first one? What about the first one?
We can apply the definition of absolute value, like fz is equals to if real of fz plus imaginary of fz, then mod of fz will be.
What? I'm not getting what?
I think I'm confused with something. What's
No, what are you saying? Okay, you can use one more thing. Okay, as a consequence of Liouville's theorem, we can prove that a range of non-constant entire function is range of non-constant entire function is entire function will be I'm just using Liouville's theorem, not necessary to
Unbounded.
Range of non-constant entire function is
Unbounded.
Unbounded is correct. Is dense in C. Is dense in C. But this will not be possible. So in this case, f should be what? If you have a function f satisfying this condition, the range of that function f will not be dense in C. So f should be ultimately it should be a constant function.
Constant.
Again, so that's all. This is proved. Okay. So this is very easy problems. Okay. Now let us come to Schwartz lemma. This is a very important lemma. Okay. So if f is analytic for modulus of z less than 1, so modulus of z less than 1 means unit disk. This is the unit disk, open unit disk. That's why I draw like this. So this is the circle, unit circle. So points inside this circle. So this is the open unit disk. So f has a 0 of order n at the origin. F has a 0 of order n at the origin. 0 of order n at the origin. What do you mean by 0 of order 1? F is a function from a domain to C. Okay, suppose no need to assume any point. Let us assume that 0 belongs to D. F has a 0 of order 1 at D. 0 means what? F has a 0 of order 1 at 0 means what? F of 0 will be equal to
0.
F of 0 equal to 0. What about f dash of 0?
It can't be 0.
It is non-zero. So order 0 of order 2 means
F and F dash will be 0.
f of 0 equal to 0. F dash of 0 equal to
It's also 0.
okay. So order n means f
Up
of
to
0
n the
equal
derivative
to f dash of 0 equal to up to what derivative it will be equal to 0?
nth derivative.
Tell correctly.
N
N minus 1.
N minus 1th derivative up to n minus 1th derivative at 0 will be equal to 0. Nth derivative will not be equal to 0. Nth derivative will not be equal to 0. Is that clear? So then we will say that f has a 0 of order n at origin. Instead of origin, if you take any other point, 0 of order n at that particular point, you will say. Okay. Okay. This is one condition. What is the additional hypothesis? Modulus of f of z less than or equal to 1. F is bounded by 1 and it has a 0 of order n at the origin. If these two are the assumptions, then this is the conclusion. These are the conclusions. So we have actually 3 conclusions. So fn of 0 will be less than or equal to n factorial, will be bounded by n factorial, and modulus of f of z will be bounded by modulus of z power n for all z in the unit disk, with equality in one of these inequality. If it attains equality, or for some non-zero point, if you have equality here in the second inequality, then that function should be a rotation of z power n. This is the conclusion. Is it clear to everyone? Schwarz lemma? Hello? Is the conclusion clear? You have an analytic function defined on the unit disk which has a 0 of order n at the origin. That means it has a 0 of order n at 0. That point is 0. In addition to that, if f satisfies the condition, if it is bounded by 1 on the domain where it is defined, the domain where it is defined is the open unit disk or unit disk. Okay, then these are the conclusions. Nth derivative at 0 will be bounded by n factorial and f will be bounded by modulus of z power n. If equality holds in one of these inequalities, then f is nothing but the rotation of z power n. Rotation of z power n. Is that clear to everyone? Schwarz lemma is very, very important. So if you put n equal to 1, you will get the usual Schwarz lemma. So this is somewhat generalized version of Schwarz lemma. If you put n equal to 1, you will get the usual Schwarz lemma. Is that clear to everyone? Shall I proceed further?
Yes.
Okay. So based on this, you will have problems in all the exams, GATE, NBHM, CSAR and all. Okay. So this is nothing but Schwarz-Pick lemma. This is called Schwarz-Pick lemma. Fixed generalization of Schwarz lemma. So here f of 0 need not be equal to 0. F of 0 need not be equal to 0. So f is analytic in the unit disk. So f from unit disk to unit disk bar. This is the function. So this implies this condition actually. Modulus f of z less than or equal to 1 for all z in D. F of a equal to b for some a b belongs to D. Then it gives the bound for the derivative. See, f dash of a for all a. For all a in D. For all a in D, you will have this. Modulus f dash of a less than or equal to 1 minus mod f of a square by 1 minus mod a square. Okay. Moreover, for pairs of element a and moreover for pairs of element a comma a dash in D, we have the following inequality. So this is the inequality. What is this inequality? See, rho of a f of a comma f of a dash less than or equal to rho of a comma a dash. What is this rho of a comma a? How it is defined? It is defined in this way. Rho of z comma a is equal to modulus of z minus a by 1 minus a bar z. So modulus of z minus a by 1 minus a bar z. Have you seen this type of functions?
Yes, sir. Uniform functions.
Huh?
No, yes. Lipschitz functions.
No Lipschitz function. No, I am just asking about this function. Okay, this condition says that the rho is a Lipschitz function. Very good. This condition says that rho is a Lipschitz function. That is okay. Of order 1, that is okay. What about this function? Yeah, that also you are told correctly. Once again, can you tell me? Yeah.
Mobius transformation.
Yeah, Mobius transformation or bilinear transformation. Okay, what is so special about this type of Mobius transformation? If I fix an element in the unit disk and if I consider this transformation z minus a by 1 minus a bar z, what it says, what it does to the unit disk. I'm not going to prove this, but okay. D to D. T is a Mobius transformation from D to D, then T will be of this form. T of Z equal to some e power I theta into Z minus A by 1 minus A bar Z. Every Mobius transformation from D to D will be of this form. One part is very obvious. If you take this, it will map D to D. The other part is if you take any Mobius transformation, it is of this form. That is also easy. But one more crucial thing is you can prove from the Schwarz lemma is any biholomorphic map from D to D is of this form. Any biholomorphic map. Biholomorphic means what? Biholomorphic means what? What do you mean by biholomorphic?
Inverse.
Yeah. T from say some domain D to, maybe I put D itself, can define generally. Is biholomorphic means what? T is 1 1 onto analytic and T inverse is also
Analytic.
T inverse is also analytic. See, the set of all biholomorphic maps on D will be of this form. Where theta is a real number. And A is a particular point in D. Okay, so this is very, very important. Okay. Okay, this is actually modulus of that one. If you take the modulus of this one, you will get this. Yeah. Okay, let us go further. So these, you have to remember these inequalities. These two inequalities, because using this problems may be asked. So you have to remember these inequalities. So what is Schwarz lemma? What is Schwarz-Pick lemma? Okay. When equality holds in Schwarz lemma, when equality holds in Schwarz-Pick lemma. So that is very important. See. So you have two inequalities. Equality is obtained. See. Okay, I'll come down. Yeah. Equality is obtained in 1 at a point A, or equality is obtained in 2 for pairs of points with A not equal to A dash if and only if F belongs to Art D. Art D means automorphisms of D. Automorphisms of D means this is not our usual group theory automorphism. Here automorphism means what? Automorphisms of group, you know. Automorphism of a domain means just now I described. What is that? Set of all
Biholomorphic.
Maps. Set of all biholomorphisms of that particular domain. Some omega is a domain means set of all F such that F from omega to omega is 1 1 on to analytic. F inverse is also analytic. Okay. So this is the thing. Is that clear to everyone? So you have to remember these inequalities. So once again I show these inequalities for you. Okay. Is that okay? Hello? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let us proceed further. Okay. So next is the argument principle. Yes. So if f of z be analytic inside and on a closed contour C, you are given a closed contour C. Need not be simple. It need not be simple. See, that's why winding number comes into picture. It is just a closed contour. It may wind around as many times. Okay. Closed contour C. F is analytic on this closed contour and inside this closed contour for all points inside this closed contour. Okay. And f of z not equal to 0 on C. On the boundary, f of z is non-zero. Okay. Let Aj denote the zeros of f. Every zero is counted 0 of order k is counted k times, please remember. Counted with multiplicity, that's what. And bk denote the poles. Again, we count the poles also with multiplicity inside C. Inside C, it has zeros are denoted by aj, poles are denoted by bk's. Everything is counted according to its multiplicity. Okay. And so this is a generalized version of argument principle. And let pi of z be analytic inside and on C. Pi of z is another function inside and analytic on C. It is analytic inside and on C. Okay. Then what is the conclusion? So this is the conclusion. 1 by 2 pi I integral over C f dash of z by f of z pi of z dz is equal to this one. Okay. Our usual argument principle, if you see, this is our usual argument principle. Okay. F has only poles. So what type of function is f? I didn't define, but you know what is the, if a function has the singularities are only poles, you know something about that function. F is actually a what type of function? If the singularities are only poles, there is a special name for that analytic function. What is that? Meromorphic function, right? We'll discuss about singularities soon. Okay. So if it is a simple closed curve, how this conclusion will be 1 by 2 pi I integral over C, and if I take pi to be equal to 1, this is our usual argument principle. F dash of z by f of z dz. For a simple closed curve, this will be equal to how much? Capital N minus capital P, where N denote the number of what? You can tell from here. Number of zeros of f inside C. Similarly, what is capital P? Number of poles of f inside C. Okay. So this is the generalized version. You will have problems using this version. Okay. So last class we discussed one problem to illustrate the use of winding number. One of our friends told, sir, we can solve this using argument principle. So let us do that using argument principle. Okay, let me show that problem and we will do that using argument principle. Yeah, this problem. So z is equal to set of all x plus iy in C, 0 less than x less than. Okay, let me write this. That is better. R is equal to set of all x plus iy such that 0 less than x less than 1, then minus 11 pi less than y less than 11 pi. Okay, right. Then the value of the integral e power z dz by e power z minus 2. I think there is 1 by, okay, if I want to, okay, we can put even 1 by 2 pi. So we have proved this. What is the answer for this in the last class? Over the boundary. Where gamma is the boundary of R. Gamma is the boundary of R. So do you remember the answer? I think it's 11, right? Okay. So now you consider this one. So this is of this form, right? So this is equal to 1 by 2 pi I integral over gamma. This is like dw by w minus 2. So what is W? What is W? What is W?
E power z.
E power z. Okay, so this is of this form. Actually, this should be f of this should be W of gamma. So what is the number of zeros of this function inside the domain? Inside gamma. What is gamma actually? What is gamma actually? See, 0 less than x less than 1. So 0 to 1. So minus 11 pi to plus 11 pi. So minus 11 pi will be somewhere here. So plus 11 pi will be somewhere here. So this is our boundary gamma. This is our boundary gamma. So this is my point 1. Okay, this is minus 0 comma minus 11 pi, 0 comma plus 11 pi. So this is 1 comma 11 pi, or 1 plus I times 11 pi. So this is 1 minus I times 11 pi. Okay, all these things are there. Okay, now I want to count the zeros of this function. So this is a simple closed curve. Yes or no? Hello? This is a simple closed curve. Now I want to count the zeros of this function. E power z equal to 2. How many solutions this has inside this domain? How will you find the solutions of this equation? E power z equal to 2 means, what is z? Let me write this. E power z is equal to 2. What is z? Z is equal to you know this, how to solve this?
Log 2.
Log 2 plus I times
pi.
Argument of 2. Right? Yes or no? Okay. See, in this domain, okay, what is argument of 2? If I take principal argument, it is equal to
0.
log 2 plus I0. So that is log 2. But what are all the other solutions? See, e power z equal to 2. Z equal to log 2 is a solution. E power log 2 equal to 2 into e power 2k pi I for k belongs to z. All these are solutions, right? Yes or no? So what are all the general solutions? So it is log 2 plus I times 2k pi where k belongs to z. So this is the general solution of this equation. These are the solutions of this equation. So these are the entire solutions of these equations. So only these many solutions here. So how many solutions you have actually in the entire complex plane? How many solutions we have?
Countable.
Infinite.
Infinitely many. Very good. So among these solutions, how many lies inside this domain? If you want, I will draw the domain once again. So to get a better picture, let me draw the domain here. So this is the domain. So where is, so this is 0, this is 1. So this is minus 11 pi, this is plus 11 pi. Okay. So where is this log 2? Log 2 actually base is, what is the base here? Base is E, right? So where will be log 2? Log 2 base E, it will be bigger than 1 or less than 1?
Less than 1.
Less than 1. So it will be somewhere here, log 2. Log 2 plus I0 this actually. So this is log 2. What about these points where they will lie? Log 2 plus I2k pi I. What about these points where they will lie? They will lie in the, can you just tell me geometrically?
Log 2 comma 2 pi. 2k pi.
No. Can you tell me geometrically these points will lie in the line or
Straight line.
circle or ellipse or parabola?
Straight line, sir.
Straight line. That's what I want.
Vertical straight line.
Vertical straight line. Very good. So assume that this is vertical. Okay. So so if I put k equal to 1, so log 2 plus 2k pi I. So plus 2 pi. I didn't write log 2 I 2 pi plus log 2. I didn't write I 2 pi plus. I just write 2 pi. This is 4 pi. Next 6 pi, 8 pi, 10 pi. All these things will lie here, right? Up to 10 pi, it will be here. Similarly, in the negative, for negative integers, minus 2 pi, minus 4 pi, minus 6 pi, minus 8 pi, minus 10 pi. So, how many zeros are lying? So, how many such points are lying in this domain? Can you tell me? You can guess the answer. 11. In the positive side, it is 5. In the negative side, it is 5. 5 plus 5, 10. Plus one more thing on the for imaginary part 0, it is log 2. So totally there are 11. So the answer is again, anyway, it is going to be, so 2 pi I into 11. If it is 1 by 2 pi I here, sorry, I have to put 11. Sorry. 2 pi I into 11. Is that clear to everyone? So which is easier? Which is easier to apply? Argument principle or winding number concept? At least with respect to this problem. You should say something, sir, this is easy, that is easy. Or both are difficult. For somebody, both may be difficult. I don't know. But in general, which is easier, you think so? At least for this problem? Hello?
Argument principle.
Argument principle, very good. Okay.
Sir, they are poles.
See, there are no poles. Okay. Okay. What about the poles for this function? E power. So what is f of z here? Or w? E power z minus 2. E power z. What about the poles for this function? Does this function has any poles? Yes or no?
No, it is analytic. Sorry,
It is an entire function. Yes, very good. It has no poles. So it is 0. You are clear. Your question is correct. Are you satisfied with the answer now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. One more problem using this argument principle. This is the problem. So let p be a positive integer. So consider the closed curve r of t equal to e power 80. E power 80 means for t 0 less than equal to less than 2. What is this actually? What is this curve actually?
Circle, unit circle.
Unit circle, very good. Unit circle. This is the curve, unit circle. So mod z equal to 1. Very good. Okay, let f be a function holomorphic in the disk of radius capital R, where R is bigger than 1. So it is. So my function is analytic in a bigger disk. My curve is lying inside. F has a 0 only at z0, with 0 less than modulus of z0 less than R, and it is of multiplicity q. And it is of multiplicity q. So f is a holomorphic function. Holomorphic means analytic function, right? It is an analytic function. So it has only a 0 at z0. Z0 lies somewhere here. Z0 lies somewhere here. And it is a multiplicity q. And it is a multiplicity q. Then what is the value of this integral? Actually, there is a mistake in this question. I have taken the question as such from the exam, but there is a mistake in this question. Can you tell me the mistake first? Can you just guess the mistake? What is given about this? What is given about this point Z naught? See, this is my circle mod Z equal to R. Okay, this is my circle mod Z equal to R. So the smaller circle is mod Z equal to 1. Okay, F has a 0 only at Z naught with 0 less than modulus of Z naught less than R. Okay, so Z naught could be where? What are all the possibilities for Z naught? Z naught could be
On the circle also.
it could be even on the circle. That is also not clear. It could be outside the circle. It could be
Inside the circle.
inside the small circle. Okay.
So
If
this one
it is
not-
outside this circle, what is the value of this integral?
Zero, it becomes
Zero. What theorem you applied?
Cauchy.
Cauchy's theorem. Very good. Super. So, if it is on the okay, anything else? If it is outside this circle of radius 1, it is going to be 0. The integral is going to be 0 because of Cauchy's theorem. Anything else? Right? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If it is on the circle, what happens?
Use the winding number.
No. Okay. Have you will you define this function? Okay. Integral. dz by z minus a. This is an integral. C is a curve. Let a belongs to C. Will you be able to find the value of this integral? What is the assumption? Whenever you are defining such a function, that point A should not belong to that.
Curve.
It should not be in that curve. So that's why if you see the hypothesis of this argument principle, this curve does not pass through any. See, this curve inside a closed contour. Okay. They denote the poles inside. Okay. It is analytic and on a closed contour C except for okay. Actually, I should have written this curve does not pass through. That I have missed actually. C should not pass through. Should not pass through what?
Either of AKs and
AJs and BKs. It should not pass through these AJs. It should not pass through these BKs. Then only this formula is valid. Then only this integral is defined. Then only this integral is well defined. Is that clear? And in that case, we have this formula. Is that clear? Are you able to follow this? You see, whatever theorem, the singularity, the curve will not pass through that 0 or any other singularity. You see, whatever theorem, Cauchy integral formula, higher derivatives formula, argument principle, all these things. Okay, so that is the main assumption. Then only that integral, that complex line integral is defined, or the contour integral is defined. Otherwise, it is not at all defined. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Okay. Okay, so they should have written modulus of z 0 less than, it should be less than 1. Instead of r, it should be less than 1. Then it is okay. Okay, now what is the answer? What is the answer? You apply the argument principle. So this is equal to what is the winding number of this curve? What is the winding number of this curve? What is the winding number? E power it 0 to 2 pi. So winding number is how much?
1.
Only 1. So no need to worry about it. Whether this function has a pole or not. Whether f has a pole or not. F is a holomorphic function. So how many poles it will have?
0.
0 number of poles. So no need to worry about it. And we have given that it has only a 0 at z naught and it is of order q. So what is the answer?
C.
C is the answer. C is the answer. So value of here pi of z is equal to z power p. Here pi of z is equal to z power p. So value of this function at the 0. Here 0 is z naught. So value of this function at 0 is z naught power p. How many times? Q times. So it is q into z naught power p. That's all. Is that clear to everyone? If you want, you can compare with the argument principle. See, it is counted according to the multiplicity. Here winding number is 1, multiplicity is q, so z naught power p, z naught power p, z naught power p, q times. So that is the answer. So q into z naught power p. Is that clear to everyone? Am I making sense? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let us proceed further. The answer is C. Okay. How this problem is? Okay, think about this problem. For z not equal to y, again they are playing with the exponential function. With z not equal to, okay, before going to this, let us discuss about isolated singularities. Let us discuss about singularities first, and then let us come to this problem. That will be better. So f from say d to c be a function. Z not belong to d. Z not belong to d is called a singular point of f. When will you say it is a singular point of f? If
Not analytic that point.
f is not analytic at z naught, that is the first condition. F is not analytic at z naught, that is the first condition. Then and
It is
Limit
analytic
point
in the
of regular
neighborhood of
point.
everything. And it is analytic.
I am not
in
asking isolated singular point. I am just
Oh.
asking singular point. Please remember. Now you tell the definition.
Limit point of regular. It is limit point of regular point of f.
Limit point of regular point of f. That's correct. Okay, can you say it in other words? Okay, that is also correct. But we can say in other words, and every whatever you told is equivalent to this one, and every neighborhood of
Z naught, there exists a point in which f is analytic.
Very good. Every neighborhood of z naught has a point at which f
is analytic.
F is analytic. Very good. So if you call the point of analyticity as a regular point, z naught will be a limit point of the regular point. Z naught will be a limit point of the regular point. That comes from this neighborhood definition. Both are equivalent. Yes, very good. Okay, now can you say what are all the singular points of this function f of z is equal to real part of z? You take d to be c, so you consider this f is a function from c to c. Entire complex plane to entire complex plane. What are all the singular points of this function f of z is equal to real of z?
No singular point.
No singular point. Because why no singular point? This
It has no regular point.
Very good. So it has no point of analyticity. It has no point of analyticity. analyticity. Or in other words, this function is nowhere. This function is nowhere.
Analytic.
Nowhere analytic. See, even though this is nowhere analytic, from the definition of singular point, it does not has any. It does not possesses any singular point. Please remember this. See, many people will think entire complex plane, every point in the complex plane is a singular point of this function f of z is equal to real of z. Not like that. So this is the definition of singularity or singular point. Singularity of a function or singular point of a function. At that point, the function should not be analytic. Every neighborhood of that point should have a point at which the function should be analytic. Is that clear now, everyone? What do you mean by singular point? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. This singular point or singularity can be, first primarily it can be classified into two. So do you remember what are they? Isolated.
Removable singularity.
No. First isolated, non-isolated. Then we will come to removable and all these things later. What do you mean by isolated singularity? Okay, f is a function from D to C. A point Z0 in D is said to be an isolated singularity. Means what? Z0 is an isolated singularity
if in neighborhood of Z0 there is no
there
other
exists
singularity.
a very good. There exists a delta greater than 0 such that in n delta of Z0 minus Z0, sorry, some problem with my pen. It should be subset of D, and in this set my function should be f should be analytic. So can you give me an example for this isolated singularity? What is the easiest example? F of z is equal to 1 by z. You take the domain to be entire complex plane. So what is the singularity for this isolated singularity for this function?
0.
What is that point? Is that equal to
0.
0. And at that point the function fails to be analytic. At that point the function fails to be analytic. Okay. So what do you mean by non-isolated singularity? From the definitions we can say, if it is a singular point which is not
Isolated point.
which is not isolated, and it is non-isolated. So okay, can you give me an example for non-isolated singularity? You have many examples.
Log.
That is the usual function. Log z, principal logarithm. Log mod z plus I times principal argument. Okay, I arguments where minus pi less than argument of z less than pi. So what are all the singularities of this log function, principal logarithm function? I think Dr. Sairam has talked about this, so you remember this. So what are all the singular points of this function? Yes, please. They are nothing but the entire
Negative axis.
negative real axis plus 0.
Yeah.
All these points are what type of singularity? They are all
Non-isolated.
they are all non-isolated singularity. They are all these points are non-isolated singularity. All these points are non-isolated singularity. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, now let us Now we can classify these isolated singular points into three types. Isolated singular points into three types, or isolated singularity into three categories. What are they? Removable singularity. Next one is
Poles.
pole. What about the third one?
Essential singularity.
Okay. What are all the definitions of this one? Essential singularity. When will you say that a singular isolated singularity is said to be removable if, okay, f is a function from D to C, Z0 is an isolated singularity. When will you say that Z0 is an essential singularity? Sorry, not essential singularity, removable singularity if limit
F has limit at the
Z,
time.
then Z goes to Z0, f of Z exists.
And finite.
Exist means, of course, it is finite. Okay, if you still want clarity, we can write exists and finite.
Here, because infinity can be also.
Okay, okay, it depends. Okay, usually exists means it is finite only, but okay, I can write it, no problem. Okay, these are the only cases. Okay, if it is exist, okay, okay, let us write all the possible values of limit. Limit Z10 to Z0, f of Z, it may be equal to, this may become infinity. What about the other case? Limit Z10 to Z0, f of Z,
So not zero.
does not exist. Does not exist. Does not exist. Okay. So these are the three possibilities which will happen in a point of isolated singularity. If it is exist and finite, if it exists as a finite value, then that singularity is called, this is the definition, removable singularity. Removable singularity. If it goes to infinity, it is called pole. The limit does not exist, it is called
Essential singularity.
essential singularity. Why it is called removable singularity means actually you can redefine the function in such a way that the new function becomes
Analytic.
And it will coincide with the old function except at Z0. So a usual classical example for removable singularities, what is that one? You know what is that? What is the example? Usual example.
Sin Z.
Sin Z by Z.
Sin Z by Z. At what is the point of removable singularity? Z equal to?
Z equal to 0.
Z equal to 0. See, at 0, this is not defined. It is 0 by 0. But what is the limit? Limit Z goes to 0. What is the sin Z by Z is how much?
1.
It is equal to 1. So if I define a new function, suppose if I call this as f. Initially f is not defined at 0. Now if I define a new function g, which is equal to f for z not equal to 0, it is equal to 1 for z equal to 0, then what happens to this g? This g becomes analytic.
Analytic at 0.
Analytic at 0. So therefore, in this case, this 0 is called a removable singularity. Removable singularity. Okay. So next is pole. Pole, the definition is there. So if at that point the limit goes to infinity, then it is called pole. If at that point the limit goes to infinity, it is called pole. Okay, limit does not exist means it is essential singularity. So can you give me an example of essential singularity? You all know, but let me anyway. Essential singularity. e power 1 by z. What is the point of essential singularity? Z equal to 0. Is essential singularity. Why it is true? It is an essential singularity. Why it is true? Why it is essential singularity? Hello?
Limit does not exist.
Why
at
limit does
zero.
not? Can you prove that limit does not exist? So limit z goes to 0.
If we take a only real axis, then it goes to infinity, and if we take only imaginary axis, then
limit x goes to 0. If I take y to be 0, e power 1 by x. Suppose I approach from the this is okay.
Real axis.
Yeah, whatever I have only one infinity, so that is okay. Limit x goes to 0, e power 1 by x. What is it? It is equal to infinity. Okay, suppose if I approach limit y goes to 0, so e power 1 by, so x is 0, I y. What is the value of this? What is the value of this one? E power 1 by I y is how much? E power minus I by y. What is the modulus of this one? This will be always equal to 1. See, when x approaches, when z goes to 0 along the real axis, this goes to infinity. If it approaches to 0 along the imaginary axis, it is staying on the unit circle. So therefore, limit does not. This limit does not
exist.
Does not exist. So therefore, 0 is a point of what singularity? Yes, it is a point of essential singularity. So singularities are isolated singularities are classified into how many types? 3 types. What are they? Removable singularity, pole, essential singularity. Okay, now let us come to this problem. So this is anyway we have discussed about e power z, so that will give us a clue how to solve this problem. For z not equal to I, f of z is equal to e power 1 by z plus I minus 1. Okay, let me write this. So e power 1 by z plus I minus 1. So that is my function f of z. Okay. F has infinitely many zeros. Is it correct or wrong? Okay, when is e power something is equal to 1? E power w equal to 1. When e power w will be equal to 1? What is w? What about w? Just now we have discussed many problems. What is w? E power something is equal to 1 means that something will be always equal to?
Pure imaginary.
Only 0.
It should be 0 and 2k pi iota.
2k pi I, where k belongs to?
Z.
So 0 comes, 0 is also included. K equal to 0, you will get w equal to 0. Okay, now e power 1 by z plus I, when it will be equal to 1. So how many zeros? So what are all the zeros of this function? So e power something should be equal to 1. So that something is 2k pi I. So 1 by z plus I is equal to how much? It should be equal to 2k pi I. So what is z? You solve for z from here. So z plus I is equal to 1 by 2k pi I. So z is equal to how much? 1 by 2k pi I minus I. So maybe I take this minus I as common and I can write this like this, right? 1 by 2k pi plus 1. Yes?
k should not be 0, right?
I am not getting what?
We need to add that k cannot be 0, right? Here
Why?
we have to take z minus 0 because 1 by 2 k pi I 2.
Okay. Okay, k not equal to 0. Very good. Sorry, I missed that. K not equal to 0. Okay, please remember k not equal to 0. That is a point actually. That will help us to solve this problem actually. Okay. So for k not equal to 0, but k belongs to where? What about k? K belongs to z, and k not equal to 0. This is also true. So non-zero integers. So all the non-zero integers are zeros of this function. Yes or no? Are you getting the point?
Yes.
All the non-zero integers are zeros of this function. So it has how many zeros? Ultimately, it has infinitely many zeros. It has infinitely many zeros. Right. Okay. Where these converges to? As k goes to infinity. Because in complex we have only infinity. So as k goes to infinity, where this will go? This sequence will go to. This will go to
minus I.
Minus I. Very good. Okay. What about minus I for this function? So now we have only one of the following options should be true. It converges to minus I. So we should know what is minus I. Is it a removable singularity, or it is a pole, or is it an essential singularity? So only one of them is true. Not all the three are true. Anyway, A is true. That is correct. So now we don't need to worry about this minus 1. So let us consider this function. E power 1 by z plus I. We don't need to worry about this minus 1. It is not going to play any role. It is just a constant. So we ignore that constant. So what is minus I for this function? If I consider this function as g of z. Sorry for the trouble. This pen is not working properly. Okay. So please bear with me. Okay. What about this minus I for this function? See, yeah, I think it is equivalent to saying this. What about 0? 0 is a dash for this function. 0 is a dash for this function e power 1 by z. Hello?
Essential singularity.
So in the similar manner, what can I say about this minus I for this function? Essential singularity. See, this is the thing. E power 1 by something. E power 1 by something. Some f of z or something. So where, if what are all the zeros are f of z you find? They all will be, you find the zeros of f of z. You find the zeros of f of z. They all will be dash of this original function e power 1 by f of z. They all will be essential singularity for this function. So therefore, what is the answer now? Immediately you can answer. Answer is B. So f has infinitely many zeros, that we proved. F has a sequence of zeros that converge to an essential singularity of f. Is that clear? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So answer A and B. Okay. Now let us come to this problem. I think we discussed this one, right? This is do we discuss this problem? Okay, maybe anyway. So you are given a function which is holomorphic in the unit disk, and mod f is greater than or equal to 1. Sorry, mod f is greater than or equal to 1, and f of 0 equal to I. sorry, f of 0 equal to I. Okay, what are all the possible values of f of 1 by 2? So which theorem you want to apply here? I think we discussed, I remember. Okay, what theorem you want to apply here?
Modulus principle, maximum
Yeah.
modulus principle.
Yes, maximum modulus principle for 1 by f. You take G to be 1 by f because f is modulus of f is bounded below by 1. F can never be 0, so G is well defined, and modulus of G is less than or equal to 1. Modulus of G is less than or equal to 1. Okay. The f of 0 equal to I. So what about G of 0? G of 0 equal to how much?
1.
No, G of 0 is not 1. G of 0 equal to
mod of
Minus
G.
G of 0 equal to minus I think. G of 0 equal to minus I. Modulus of that is 1. So where it is attained, G attains its modulus in the interior of the domain. So G should be a what type of function? Analytic function whose maximum modulus is attained in the interior. So G should be a dash function. G should be a constant function by maximum modulus principle. So since G is constant, F should be constant. So f of 0 equal to I. So what is f of 1 by 2? It will be also equal to. So f is a constant function. F of 0 equal to I. So what about f of 1 by 2? It will be also equal to I. That's all. So very easy. Is that clear to everyone? Hello? Yes. Use maximum principle. Okay. Now let us come to this one. See, again, Schwarz lemma kind of thing. Okay. So, given that D is the open unit disk and f from D to D be a holomorphic function, that f of 0 equal to 0 and f of 0 equal to 0 and f dash of 0 equal to 0, what are all the possible values of f of 1 by 2? So f of 0 equal to 0, f dash of 0 equal to 0. So that implies, what can we say about the order of 0?
1.
Order of 0 is?
At least 2.
Order of 0 is at least 2. 0 is 2. Okay, at least 2, that is also correct. We don't know about f double dash of 0. We are not given. So from here we conclude that it is 2. We don't know about f double dash of 0. Okay. So if it is a 0 of order 2, what we know about this modulus of f of z? It will be less than or equal to modulus of
Mod z to the power n.
Modulus of z square. So if I put z equal to 1 by 2, what is modulus of f of 1 by 2?
1 by 4.
Modulus of f of 1 by 2 is how much? It will be bounded by
1 by 4.
1 by
4.
1 by 4. So modulus of f of 1 by 2 is bounded by 1 by 4. So what are all the possible values? What are all the possible values of f of 1 by 2? So what are all the possible values of f of 1 by 2?
1 by 4 and minus 1.
A and B.
Yeah, A and B. A and B. I am not able to write properly, sorry. A and B. Okay. So 1 by 4 and minus 1 by 4. So these are the answers you can pick for yourself. Is that clear to everyone? So this is a Schwarz lemma. This is Schwarz lemma. Okay. Next, another problem. This is a good problem. Yes. So singularity is at infinity. Singularity is at infinity. So this is the definition. So f is an analytic function. F is an analytic function. And g is another function defined by g of w is equal to f of 1 by w. If g is analytic at 0, then we say that f is analytic at infinity. Okay. So you are given 4 options for such a function. So this is analyticity about infinity. Analyticity about infinity. So f is a function from C to C. F is a function from C to C. F is a function from C to C. We say that it is analytic at infinity. F is analytic at infinity if this g of w, I am defining a new function g of w, which I define it to be f of 1 by w. F of 1 by w. If this g is analytic at 0, we say that f is analytic at infinity. F is analytic at infinity. Is that clear to everyone? Hello? Are you getting the point? Are you getting what I am saying? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Now let us consider one example. Okay. You consider this function f of z. You consider f of z is equal to sine 1 by z. What are the singularities of this function? What are the singularities of this function?
Z is 0.
Z equal to 0. Very good. What about the singularity? What about the type of singularity?
Essential singularity.
Huh?
Essential singularity.
How it is essential singularity? It is essential singularity. That is correct.
The limit
It is essential singularity. Why? Because limit
does not exist. Does not exist.
why it does not exist?
Sign of infinity is apparent.
Why this does not exist?
You can take z is equals to
Huh?
n pi and z is
I'm not
equal to
getting.
n. Let me write it. N pi.
Yes. So if I take a sequence 1 by n pi,
One
take the
upon
sequence one. If I take the sequence 1 by n pi, the image will be equal to how much?
0.
0. If I take the sequence 2n pi, 1 by 2n pi plus pi by 2, the image will be, what will be the image?
1.
So I have two sequences converging to 0, but the image sequence is converging to two different values. Therefore, the limit does not. If you want, I
Does
can.
not exist.
So you take Zn to be, sorry, you take Zn to be n 1 by n pi, and you take Wn to be 1 by 2n pi plus pi by 2. So as n goes to infinity, both of these goes to 0, but the image will goes to, for the first one, sign of that 1 by Zn will go to 0. For the second one, it will go to 1. So therefore, limit does not exist. So therefore, it is essential singularity. What about f of 1 by w? What is f of 1 by w? It will be equal to sine
Sin W.
Sine w. Is it analytic at 0? Yes or no? Sine w, whether it is analytic at 0 or not?
It's entire function analytic, yes.
Yes. Yes, it is an entire function, therefore it is analytic at 0. Therefore, my original function f of z is analytic at where? See the definition.
Infinity.
It is analytic at
Is it equal to
infinity. It is analytic at infinity. So this is just an example. This is just an example. Okay. So let us come to this one. Which of the following statements are true? Any non-constant polynomial is analytic at infinity. Yes or no? Any non-constant polynomial is analytic at infinity. So you take a polynomial. So polynomial, how it will be? Polynomial will be of this form. P of z equal to a naught plus a1z. Okay, I am not able to read properly. You know what is a polynomial? It is a0 plus a1z plus etc. plus an z power n. Okay. So it is non-constant polynomial. So an will not be equal to 0. So an not equal to 0. See, what we know about this polynomial is limit z goes to infinity. What about this p of z?
It goes to infinity.
It goes to
Infinity.
infinity. Okay. Now limit w goes to 0, p of 1 by w. Where it will go?
A naught.
Where it will go?
A naught.
It will go to. Are you sure?
Yes.
Hmm? So what is this p of 1 by w? P of 1 by w is how much? A naught plus a1 by w plus a2 by w square plus etc. plus an by w power n. Okay, so if you take the LCM, what will you get? So w power n into a naught to w power n plus a1 w power n minus 1 plus etc. plus an. Okay, where this will go? Whether this limit exists or not. Yes or no? Hello? Whether this limit exists or not. Limit w goes to 0. This one exists or not. You don't need to think about very big polynomial. You take f of z, p of z is equal to z. So what is p of 1 by w? This is limit w goes to 0, 1 by w. What is the value?
It tends to infinity.
It is actually, you don't need to think about a very big polynomial. You come to the simplest case. P of z equal to z. So p of 1 by w is just 1 by w. So limit w goes to 0. What is 1 by w? It is equal to?
Infinity.
It is infinity. So whether, so what can you say? Can I say that it is analytic at, so p of 1 by w, is it analytic at 0? Yes or no?
It has a pole of order n at z.
Yeah. So it is not analytic. It is not analytic. So any non-constant analytic at infinity is wrong. So this is wrong. Okay. So if f is analytic at infinity, then f is bounded. Is it true? If f is analytic at infinity, then f is bounded. Is it true or false? This also you know answer for this one. See, consider sine 1 by z. Just now we discussed about sine 1 by z. It is analytic at infinity. It is analytic at infinity. Whether it is bounded, yes or no?
No, sir.
No, it is not bounded. So this is also wrong. Okay. Come to the third one. For any z naught belongs to C, the function f of z is equal to 1 by z minus z naught is analytic at infinity. 1 by z minus z naught is analytic at infinity. Okay. Let us take, for simplicity, let us take z naught to be equal to 0. Okay. for example. So, okay, so it will be e power 1 by z. So what is f of 1 by w? What is f of 1 by w? It is equal to
E power w.
Is it analytic at 0?
Yes, sir. It's an entire function.
Is it analytic at 0? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. It is analytic at 0. But okay, let us now let us come to the general one. F of z is equal to z minus z naught. Z minus z naught. What about f of 1 by w then? F of 1 by w will be equal to, what is f of 1 by w? In place of z I have to put 1 by w, so it is e power, okay, e power w by 1 minus w z naught. W z naught, right? Is it analytic at 0? Yes or no? Is it analytic at 0 or no? See, what about this function? Z naught is a constant. W by 1 minus w z naught. What kind of function is this one? W by 1 minus w z naught. What kind of function is this? If you consider this is a function of w, say t of w. It is a what function?
Mobius transform.
It is a Mobius transform. So it is analytic at 0. So e power some analytic function. It is also analytic. So what is the conclusion? This is correct. For any z naught belongs to the function f of z is equal to e power 1 by z minus z naught is analytic at infinity. Okay. So next question is, any entire function can be extended to an analytic function at infinity. Is it true or false? You take any entire function, so it can be extended to an analytic function as infinity. Yes or no? Okay. For example, you take the function f of z is equal to say z itself. Can you extend this as an analytic function at infinity?
No, sir, because
this means actually for entire functions, whether infinity is a removable singularity. That's what the question is. But it is not necessary. See, you take f of z is equal to z. F of 1 by w is 1 by w. At 0, the limit is equal to infinity. So we can't say that this function is analytic at infinity. So we cannot extend it to an analytic function at infinity. So this is also wrong. So the answer is only C.
How did you conclude that for analytic functions, for entire functions, infinity is removable singularity?
See, it is not. See, for example, this you take this function f of z is equal to z. Just with this one example is enough.
Okay.
Just this one example is enough. Or if you want, okay, if you want another example, you take sin z. It is an entire function. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. I got that, sir. But the conclusion you got that Ez can't have a removable. Ez entire functions should have only removable singularity at infinity.
No. That is false. That's what I am telling. An entire function.
Okay. Yeah,
for an entire function, infinity need not be a removable singularity.
Yeah.
When it will be, you think about it. For constant entire function, infinity will be a
not a singularity.
It will be a removable singularity. At infinity also define the same value.
You can define it that. Yeah.
That's all. See, this is actually a very important concept. This analyticity at infinity or singularity at infinity is very important concept. It is defined using this 1 by w. It's defined using 1 by w. So please remember this. Okay. Is it clear now for you? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
Okay. So let us proceed further. Okay. This is a very easy problem. This is Cauchy integral formula. Okay. Let's skip this one. Just the Cauchy integral formula. Okay. This is also a. Let me come to this. This one we discussed. Schwarzschild lemma form. That is very important. Okay. Now you see, you are given the open unit disk. F denote the family of all holomorphic functions such that f of 0 is equal to 1 by 2. F of 0 equal to 1 by 2. What are all the possible values of f dash of 0? What are all the possible values of f dash of 0? So, by Schwarzschild lemma, what is f dash of 0? What are all the estimates for f dash of 0? We know it is less than or equal to 1 minus mod f of 0 the whole square by 1 minus mod 0 square. That is 0 square. Anyway, it is 1. So, what is answer? It is 1 minus. What is f of 0? What is f of 0? It is 1 by 2. 1 minus 1 by 2 square. So, it is 1 minus 1 by 4. It is 3 by 4. So, among these values, which values are less than or equal to 3 by 4? Which is bounded by 3 by 4?
Only 3 by 4.
Only 3 by 4. So, that is the answer. That is answer. C is the answer. This one. Clear to everyone? Okay, maybe I will stop for a little while. Yes. Okay. So, I think that's all for now. So, one more thing I want to tell is, I don't actually see this analyticity at infinity. Analyticity at infinity. Analyticity at infinity. How it is defined? You consider the function. If f of z is your function, you consider the behavior of the new function g of w. How g of w is defined? G of w is defined as f of
1 by
1 by w. 1 by w. So similarly, you can think about singularities at infinity. Accordingly, you consider the singularities of this function f of 1 by w at 0. If 0 is a removable singularity for this function f of 1 by w, then infinity is a removable singularity for this function f of z. If 0 is a pole for this function f of 1 by w, then infinity is a pole for this function f of z. If 0 is an essential singularity for this function f of 1 by w, then infinity is an essential singularity for this function f of z. Okay. And you can also talk about residue at infinity. Residue at infinity. Residue at infinity. Okay, let me define what is just a residue and I will just conclude. So, if f is analytic in the annular region, then you have this Lorentz series expansion. Yes or no? This is the famous Lorentz theorem. You might have proved this. Yes, for analytic functions on the disk, you have Taylor's theorem. For analytic function in the annular region, you have the Lorentz theorem. You have the Lorentz theorem. Yes or no? You might have proved this in your complex analysis course. Is that so? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, if f has an isolated singularity at a point A, then you can expand f as a Lorentz series in this domain. They are so like this. So in this case, R1 equal to 0 and R2 equal to R. Okay, and you can define these, classify these singularities using this Lorentz series. If there are no negative terms, then that singularity is an essential singularity. If you have finite number of negative power terms, then that singularity is a pole. If there are infinitely many negative terms, it will be an essential singularity. Okay, so the residue of a singularity for a function is defined as it is a minus 1. See, what is a minus 1? If you put here, it is 1 by 2 pi I integral over mod z minus a is equal to r f of z dz. So if your function is analytic, it will not have any singularity, and the value of this a minus 1 will be always equal to 0. But the converse need not be true. The converse need not be true. There are non-analytic functions, but still a minus 1 will be equal to 0. Residue for an analytic function at every point of analyticity, residue is of course 0, because Lorentz series will not have any negative terms. That's okay. But still, there are functions for which residue is equal to 0 at a particular point, but that point need not be a point of analyticity. So this is the example. So if you take f of z is equal to sine 1 by z square, or if you take any even function with a singularity. So what are all the singularities for this function? What are all the singular points for this function? Hello? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, z equal to 0 is the only singularity. And what type of singularity it is? Singularity. Whatever we discussed for sine 1 by z, you take the square root. You take the square root of that sequence, that will work for this. So essential singularity. So if you expand this, you know what is sine z. What is the formula for sine z? Z minus z cube by 3 factorial plus z power 5 by 5 factorial, right? Instead of z, you put 1 by z square. You will have infinitely many negative terms, and you won't have this 1 by z term. So a minus 1 will be actually equal to how much? It will be equal to 0. Okay. So residues are calculated using this formula, and there are some techniques to calculate residues. So if it is a pole of order m, what is the residue? There are some formulas. Okay. From this residue, Cauchy's residue theorem is proved. But one thing I will tell, you can just refer it. Residue at infinity for any function with singularities, if you add all the residues plus residue at infinity, you will get the value will be equal to 0. Sum of the residues plus residue at infinity, it will be equal to 0. So this is an important theorem. It is more important than the usual residue theorem, because using this you can calculate the values of many integrals. I have just given this as a hint. You can refer any books. For example, you can refer my SAR's book, and I will just give the reference in this regard. Foundations of Complex Analysis by Dr. S. Ponusamy. So this book has very nice contents regarding this. Of course, everything in complex analysis is nicely written here, and of course this singularity or residue at infinity is treated in a very nice manner. You won't find this in any other books. As far as I know, even in Alfors and all, this is not treated. Okay, so this is a very good formula to find the values of many integrals. This will be helpful to you. If the power is more, at the time it will be very helpful. You can just refer this book. So with this I stop my lecture. Any other things you want to ask, you can just ask me. Yes. Hello.
You are audible.
Yes. Okay. Sorry for some. I have some trouble in this pen. I don't know. So I couldn't write properly. I hope everything has been conveyed to the audience the right way.
Yes.
So hope this problem solving workshop is useful for all the participants, and you have learned a good amount of mathematics. I hope so in all the subjects with respect to this competitive exam, CSAR, NBHM, GATE or whatever. I hope success to all the participants in all the ensuing exams, competitive exams, and of course your coursework exams or in whatever course you are. I wish you all the best for everyone. Anything else you want to ask, or there are no questions?
Okay, now thank you so much for your nice lectures in this lecture
Okay.
series.
Okay.
Maybe today's sessions is very useful for us to learn Schwartz lemma and Schwartz-Peak lemma idea.
Actually, this residue at infinity is also a very important concept. You can refer the book, but I strongly recommend everyone to study this residue at infinity. So it will be very helpful to solve many problems in complex integration. Somewhat complicated problems, usually they will ask to apply this one. If you apply the usual residue theorem, you will get the answer, but it will not be always possible to apply the usual residue theorem, because it is enough just to find the residue at infinity. That is enough. That one residue is enough to find the value of the integral. You don't need to find the residue at all other poles. No, not at all. No need at all. It is enough to find the residue at infinity for a certain function. You just refer this and you learn by yourself. This I strongly suggest or strongly recommend. Yes.
Okay, now thank you so much. So
Okay.
we expect your support in the upcoming events organized by our department.
Sure.
Thank you, Na.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
just leaving. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.